All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Dr. Bryce Bowers, Badge of Burnout. Hope everyone's doing all right. Once again, I have Philip Chan back with me. Philip's always great to see your smiling face. How you
What's going
doing?
on, man? I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Hey, real quick, let's just talk basketball because March Madness officially started today. When does Kansas play? Do you know?
I think, we're playing I know we're a 4 seed and we're playing an
Yep.
11 or 12 seed. That's
Yeah.
I had a conversation about it yesterday.
Okay. So your guys are gonna win. You're gonna repeat.
Most likely is
Okay.
what I'm
All
hoping for.
right. All right. Anyway, all right. Let's get down to Braxton tasks. So, Philip, we are coming to our final episode here, and this is, I mean, all episodes have been extremely important. But when you and I first talked, you and I met and had this idea of an entrepreneurial mindset, right? Growing and scaling a business, right? And we've been talking this whole time about futures and what they are and how they work and basically just breaking them down to a very fundamental level. So for my audience, I want them to kind of take that next step in understanding how can we make this sort of thing into a business, whether it be, I'm looking to get out of medicine and I really need something, or heck, I want to fund a practice. I need some capital here. So let's dive right in on that point. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, so the beautiful thing about what we are talking about with trading futures and commodities the right way is that this is based on a skill set, right, that you can learn. And when you learn it, not only will you have it for life, but as you get better and better at the skill set, right, you can garner more income because you're getting better with the skill set. As I always say, don't worry about the money because inputs dictate outputs, right? And so, how this game can be very lucrative, especially from a business standpoint, is number one, you have to recognize, most brick and mortar businesses, whether it be landscaping, construction, lawn mowing, restaurants, they are lucky to garner 8 to 15% of net profit. So if you made $1 million, the average is 80 to 150K, right? In that brick and mortar structure. 20% is like, wow, you're killing it, right? So
Yeah.
that's $200,000 off of $1 million business, right? And by the way, if someone ever tells you, oh, my business is doing over 1 million, don't be, so surprised, right? And congratulate them, immediately ask, oh, great, what's your profit? What's your
Yeah.
profit margin?
Hmm.
That's going to tell you, right, what type of business they're involved in. So with this modality, right, of business, the greatest part about this game is that it's a 90% margin game because the overhead that you have inherently, right, is your internet connection, your Wi-Fi, your electricity bill, the computer you're trading with, as well as the brokerage that you're trading with. And that's pretty much it, right? And you can, choose to do this for half an hour to an hour and a half a day and use it to supplement your income, or you can make this thing full time. Now you can still trade half an hour to an hour and a half a day, but you just, trade a bit more with the size of contracts that you're
Hmm.
committed to, right? So, that is, I would say, the biggest aspect of creating a business and an LLC from the skill set. Now, in terms of taxes and things like that, you really don't have to worry about creating an entity, right, until you see at least 50K in profits, right? Because otherwise, the numbers are just so small that, you can report it as an additional income stream, but it won't be that impactful on your tax returns. So, yeah, I mean, when you see that your skill set is going to allow you to generate 50K or more, then that's when I would really start, putting those structures and entities in place, right? Creating an LLC accordingly. But at the beginning stages, you're really just considered as a solopreneur, right?
Yeah.
Um, making this business work.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to make the analogy here to like medical practice and more in a way of rather than what healthcare is right now, which is mostly bought up by like big health systems, but private practice, right? If you want to start a private practice, it is extremely expensive, right? There's so much overhead to start a private practice in the physician world. I mean, you have your staff, you have the EMR, which is now required. You have rent, you have all these like mitigating factors, and that's all before you as the physician gets paid. And there's a lot of legwork to bring in patients and patients with different payers of insurance, which then pay you. if your practice is primarily Medicaid, you're not going to get paid that well. So but this is just such a different game, right? And it's like we talked about in our previous episodes. It's such a low barrier to entry. I mean, $500 basically is all you need to get started. And then you kind of grow and scale from that, right? And the other connection I want to make is it's very similar in terms of, you talked about, Philip, building the skill set, right? And then based off building the skill set, you will tend to make more money. Now, I'm in residency right now, but I tell you, I'm a much different place from when I was an intern to where I'm at my last year of residency. I've been able to develop my skills of, history taking, physical exam, ordering the correct labs, imaging, those sorts of things. Because of that, I've gotten more responsibility. Because of that, my pay has increased each year. And because of all that, now I'm almost about to graduate residency. And then I get the full attending paycheck and responsibility, right? So trading futures is extreme. It's just similar. I'm just trying to draw that analogy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And just for my audience out there who is mostly healthcare based. And let's be honest, right? This takes a lot less knowledge than finishing a residency.
That's right. That's right. And I love how, you're able to tie that back into, how physicians typically develop and ascend in their career paths, right?
Yes.
Because, that's why, as I mentioned, this is a skills-based asset, right? When we talk about income and wealth generation, right?
Yes.
This is not something where you're just taking a random guess, and things are not structured. You can make this very systematized in a way that the pathway to bigger and bigger success gets laid out in front of you.
Yes, absolutely. And I will say, I mean, trading futures does take some knowledge and to do that, but man, I mean, I think about how much like the training I've had to get to diagnose and treat accurately, and it's so much less than that. I mean, I think I've been working at it what now about 2 months, and I really feel pretty comfortable. I'm starting to feel I to this day don't feel comfortable diagnosing and treating in medicine. If any doctor says they do, they're lying. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
okay, great. So that's great. I wanted to touch on that point. Now, here's the other big thing. Us physicians, we love autonomy, and much of that has been stripped from us. And we really don't have a lot of flexibility. So I think a good pain point to talk about with my audience would be, can you just go into like how flexible would this like business be, whether it be your kind of full-time thing or even just trading on the side?
Right. So what you have to realize is the markets are open pretty much 24 hours a day minus one, right? I think 5 to 6 Eastern, if
Correct.
I
Yeah.
remember correctly, for
Yep.
futures and commodities. Now, of course, there are specific times, of the markets that you want to take advantage of, right? One of our proprietary system and indicators to follow is what we call reversal times. And if you basically trade off of reversal times, your probability of success can be very high. But because this game is 90% margins based off of your internet, your computer, your electricity bill, you could technically live the life of a nomad as well, right? Let's say you wanted to travel and be with your family, you can actually still be working, right? And you can work from home and you can be with your family, right? Now, ideally, you're not engaging in any conversations or whatever. You should be concentrated. You should look at this like you're about to perform microsurgery on a trading education platform. But the point is, you don't actually have to be in a physical OR room. You can actually be in any room that you want to perform this type of surgery, right? So that is definitely a huge factor, right? When we are discussing how do you create autonomy, how do you create additional control over your time, energy, and the way that you want to immerse yourself in specific environments.
Yeah, and that's an awesome point because I mean, here's the thing. You know what's really kind of sexy in the medicine world right now is telehealth, right? Like a lot of us, if the pandemic was kind of a horrible time, but there were some things that came out of it that can be
Absolutely.
positive. And telehealth was one of those things, right? And so physicians are very tired of having to show up to the office from 9 to 5 or 9 to 9 and work all day. And so I know a lot of my colleagues, us in the kind of the more the millennial generation that are not of the old guard, we have started to understand that, wow, I could just do a telehealth visit from, I don't know, visits from 9 to noon. I could be in Florida doing it with, on the beach for all I want. And so it's very similar to that, except for I can promise you the margins are way better, the profits are way better, and that sort of thing. And the skill set again to learn how to trade futures is so much. But that those three freedoms, the time freedom, the location freedom, and the financial freedom, those are paramount to all of us. And we really feel like we've been stripped away from a lot of those. So I think this gives physicians it gives them even more leverage and opportunity, you know. I think we want to be out of medicine at least partially, but we're afraid because we're so tied to our jobs. So wouldn't it be great if they had some sort of extra income to say, look, I have some power here. I don't need to go back to work because I'm trading futures, right?
And something that I also want to bring up, right, in regards to clarity to what you're actually engaging in, right? And of course, you can, you know, cover it up if you want to, but there is, you know, your account box sitting right there. And as I mentioned, right, there is a system that allows you to leverage the futures and commodity financial markets like it's your own personalized ATM machine. Now, having been a part of this ecosystem, Dr. Bryce, would you like to comment on, because you know physicians love their control, on how you actually can look at your numbers go up and down in that little box, and how fascinating it is to just at least have something, right, that you can keep track of in regards to, you know, instantaneous reflection of your bank account, except it's not your bank account, it's your trading account.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'd say in a world where physician salaries are going down and down and the reimbursement is going down and down, I think we all feel kind of on the edge because we just feel like, you know, we have no control over that. Now, what's great about trading is that I can obviously start with a very little amount of money and then I can, you know, I can put in as much as I want or as little as I want. I love having that control. I can enter into a trade and I can stay in it for as long as I want, or I can get out for as long as I want. And when it really all starts coming together, and you're like, I'm starting to see the setups, I'm starting to see the patterns, and you put in a trade, and you just see that number going up and up and up, just like you predicted. I mean, there is a great feeling because I mean, we as physicians, we're just type A to the max. There's nothing that we want that will defeat us. We are better than everything we think. You know, there's no task that we can't overcome. And so it's just so nice having that control over this. Now, obviously the markets are volatile, which is a good thing because we do make money off the volatility, right? And there certainly is risk involved, but let's talk about the risk real quick, right? We can even control the risk. We can control how much money we put in. We put stop losses on our orders so we're not, you know, just losing all of our money. And this is all taught in the courses, right? You and your business partner, Cal, don't just say, well, hey, just go in there and throw all your money away. No, you need to be mindful. You need to set your stop losses. You need to know what you can lose and can't lose, right? So,
Absolutely. Yeah, and the greatest part is you can see your profits, right? Or if you're losing money, literally happen instantaneously,
mhm.
right? In that little box on that top left corner. And again, like I mentioned, you can choose to hide it. But in a way, right? It's like being able to see the progression of a patient outcome right in front of your eyes as
Yeah.
you're, you know, entering in a trade, waiting for the trade to, you know, realize itself, and then you exit the trade, right? It's kind of like you're literally seeing the patient go from, you know, a before and after right in front of you, just in that
Right.
little box.
Right. Yeah. Or even, you know, I mean, especially on the sicker side of patients, on the inpatient side, you know, you over the course of days when you're monitoring them, you just kind of see them start developing into the setup. Like, look, we didn't know what was going on when they came in. And that's sometimes how it is when you're looking at like a market and a chart and stuff. But as time develops, it starts to reveal itself a little bit. And the same thing with patients. Like, you know what? I thought this guy had a COPD exacerbation, but the more and more I look at it, he's actually probably in heart failure. And
Mm.
then we start treating him for it, and then we get the patient better. And it's so similar here. You know, the market, we analyze it and we think, okay, could be this, could be this. And eventually, based off the way, you know, we teach you, it tells you, it reveals itself. And then you kind of go in for the kill. And that's what's so great is that you just have that autonomy, you have that skill set, you have that knowledge, And we physicians, we can do this. I mean, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, I promise you that, but we have the aptitude to do this. So it's just, there's almost no excuse not to, you know what I mean?
And the funny thing is, right, like you mentioned all of that, but for the setup to realize itself, right, it's not a matter of days, it's a couple of minutes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Trust me.
know,
It's so frustrating sometimes, like waiting and waiting for a patient to reveal themselves and get better. And you're sitting there just sweating out, like, oh my God, this patient's life is on the line here and it's on me to figure out. But you're right. The trades they show in much shorter
yeah,
times.
they're just in minutes, as compared to because we don't hold anything overnight, right? And that's
Right.
the difference. We're
Right.
high frequency, short-term investors, right? And so, do you have anything for physicians listening, in terms of analogies that can really bring this point home, in regards to the amount of time commitment that it takes for someone to, you know, start and end the trade and actually watch the profits be realized right in front of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are so many things in the medical field. I mean, yeah, I don't mean to say it's all long term because it's certainly not. You know what I mean? I mean, if there's, you have a patient, and I don't do emergency medicine or mostly like critical care, you know what I mean? But like I do ICU level care, right? And so I have a patient who's hypoxic, their oxygen levels dropping quickly. We intubate them, boom, right there, their oxygen levels back up. Same thing, patients in a really tough arrhythmia, like I don't know, supraventricular tachycardia or something like that. We
Mhm.
give the adenosine, the patient feels like they're dying for a sec, and then boom, their heart is like right back into rhythm. And that immediate gratification is so reinforcing for physicians. It is so much because there are so many things in our field that are quicker. You can
Right.
drain an abscess, and I love draining. I'm one of those Dr. Pimple Popper guys. You drain and you just get this immediate result. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so because over time you can lose faith if things are you're just kind of waiting and waiting and waiting for things.
Right.
And that's what I love about futures is it's so immediate. It reveals itself so soon. And I'll say it again for repetition, we are not day traders. We trade in hour and a half to maybe 2 hour long sessions. And it's just nice knowing that I can have that I can know and finish in within that amount of time, because
Right.
gosh, I mean, these days in the hospital, they're long sometimes, Philip, I tell
Right.
you.
Right. And the amount of, I mean, within 2 hours, you can really pinpoint what, like 10, 15 quality trades.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then
Absolutely.
you can be done for the day as long as you're 80, 90% accurate, right, on those trades.
Right, right. And it's very similar to even like just being in the ER, it's like the bus drops off at 8 a.m. Everybody comes in and then you're kind of at a lull for the day. So and that's when we trade. We trade earlier in the morning when the market's open at 9:30 Eastern time. And then that's when there's the most volume. And then things kind of slow down for a little bit. But then, sometimes you get surprised, just like at the ER, you get this huge influx of patients. Maybe a trauma comes in, who knows?
Well, because usually in the afternoons, because of the influence of federal reports, and we actually, give away some insights in the program of how to identify those reports, right? Then you get more volatility that you can take advantage of in the afternoons as well, right?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
now, Dr. Bryce, obviously you've been immersed with us for a little bit. You're still honing your skill set, but in regards to growing and scaling, you had a great post the other day, that showcased your journey, right? I think you went in for half a cent in the micro markets and you profit about $70.
Yeah.
Uh, what's nice about that is if you, stay congruent to this topic that we're on, which is growing and scaling, right? You want to elucidate to the audience what that can equate to when you start actually trading real money, right?
Yeah.
In the real markets, as well as when you dial up the size of contracts.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So I traded, and I won't get too far into the weeds here, but I traded on the mini Dow, and one contract on the mini Dow is 50 cents. See, look at that. I didn't know that any of that 2 months ago. But anyway, so 50 cents on the mini Dow. Now, I noticed the setup. I saw it coming based off what you guys had taught me. I was very much like a pattern recognition, just like so many things in medicine are. And I bet 50 cents. And I said, man, I can afford to lose 50 cents. But on top of that, I put a stop loss 10 points below that 50 cents, which would mean that I would have lost $5. right? Now,
Now, just so the audience knows, right, what Dr. Bryce is referring to, 1 point in the micro markets, right, is 50 cents.
it's 50
But
cents.
1 point in the regular markets is $5. Right? You
Correct.
should move the decimal over by one, right? It's 1/10 basically. But what Dr. Bryce is getting at is, we're looking to extract points from the market. So you're basically, you risk 10 points, but how many points did you gain in the market?
Right. So I risk 10 points, very minimal. I can lose $10, not that I want to, but I can. And then I gained 70 points, basically. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I gained 140 points,
For that.
which brought me to $70 because it's a half, 50 cents, right? So imagine that. You push 2 quarters into the center table, and then back out comes $70. Now, I'm newer, so I'm trading on the mini markets. That's what you guys teach me. I'm keeping it safe.
Yep.
But now you scale that. So you had talked about that the actual Dow, the YM market. That's $5. So if I put in $5, I would have made $700.
$100 off of
Right.
one contract, by
Off
the
of
way.
one
One
contract.
contract.
For
There you
one,
go.
that's just one contract. Yep.
Right.
And then and once my skills gets even higher and when I get more confident, you put in $5,000 and you get
There
$70,000
you
now
go. And that would be at 10 contracts, right?
at
Basically.
10 contracts.
Yep.
Yep, exactly.
Now, how long did it take that trade to realize itself?
That was I literally I show this trade a lot because it's on my LinkedIn and I showed a couple guys today, but that was about 4 or 5 minutes.
4 and 5 minutes
Yep. That
for
is a
instant gratification off of a deliberate skill set that you practice.
Exactly. Yep. It's not gambling. Like we say, gambling is when you don't know what you're doing. You're just throwing money into the wind. And this is a cold, calculated decision of when you're going in. So, and Bill, it fits $70. That's my electric bill for the month. And I made that it could be more, I'm just a measly resident, but but $70. I made that in 5 freaking minutes. There's like Cal says, there's nowhere else in the world legally you can have
No.
that return,
It's amazing, man. And
It
and
really,
by being immersed in this space, you get to learn about other asset classes too, which, right, as a sneak peek, we are going to be developing the other vertical of leveraging stock options. Now, stock options, it is a asset class that is not as volatile as futures, right? Stock options have actually created a lot of millionaires, even though futures and commodities are the one that creates billionaires. But hey, it's a great hedge. It is really I guess, safer and conservative way to generate consistent income. And I'm excited to be able to introduce that, to our ecosystem once we have it more dialed in, But that's just a small thing that I'm super excited about.
yes, absolutely. And I will say I had really no knowledge about investing in general. The word stock option was like foreign language to me.
Yep.
So, and futures obviously too. So I think that, but so I'm going to use that as a very good segue into closing up here, Philip. So there's something I'm super excited about. What I'm not super excited about is this is kind of the close of the series of the podcast, right? It's been great. It's been fun. It's been I've learned so much myself even from doing the podcast, even though like I'm the one doing the podcast. You know what I mean? So it's just been a lot of fun. But so
Likewise.
I don't want my audience to fret. I know a lot of you are really enjoying this content. I know a lot of you are curious about it. There is something that's coming down the line. So if you've really enjoyed it and where we've kind of just had this really nice conversational nature, Philip and I get along really well. It's been great, but we're really just we've kind of made a very good overlap of the financial world and the medical world and how you can take advantage of it, right?
Sure.
So I want everybody to stay tuned because we have something coming down the line that I think is going to be an absolute game changer. Philip and I are well underway on a project that is going to be even more life-changing for everybody. This project is going to be for physicians. It's going to help you get started out in the futures market. And we're working on it right now. And we've got some really great ideas to bring it to you. So I don't want anybody to get discouraged because we're never leaving. Right, Philip?
That's right. The one thing that I guess we should let them in on, right, to keep the excitement going, is that this will be a one-of-a-kind merger between the financial universe and the medical universe, where you're going to hear financial terms explained in medical analogies.
Yes. I was at a conference yesterday, and that was the theme of one of the talks was if you can make an analogy, it sticks so much more. And I know that. I mean, when people make real world, your business partner, Callie, makes analogies all the time. You do too about performing micro. It sticks with me. It sticks with us. That's what we want to hear. We spent 12 freaking years studying this stuff. So
Yep.
make an analogy about medicine, would you?
Yep. That's right.
So
And I guarantee you there is no other entity in the world that's capable of that because they don't have a Dr. Bryce or Lightspeed investing on their side.
that's right, man. We got it all here. We got it all. So, Philip, this has been so much fun. I really appreciate you, man. Thanks for taking all the time to come on here and do this thing. And I'm excited, but it's over, but it's not over. So I'm excited for what the future holds for us and for the rest of my physician audience out there.
Yep. Yep. Hey, appreciate you having me on as well. And stay tuned, everyone. Be excited.
All right, guys. Take care.
You have a good day.